big giant team. It could just be you and having leverage. And I think that's really important and to keep in mind. When I joined, like I said, Keller Williams 6 years ago, I either read or heard that Gary Keller had a virtual assistant. And I was pretty excited about that because I hadn't heard of anyone really having a virtual assistant. And when I switched over, I needed a TC. And so instead of just using the in-house TC, the numbers, it made sense for me to get a virtual assistant that was 20 hours a week that could not help just help my business in TC work, but she also, I got to leverage her by doing social media, marketing, part of my 33 touch. And so it's just really important that you guys take that leverage, because as a solo agent, you do everything. And it kind of just, after a while, you can only be in so many places at one time. And so start leveraging yourself by getting rid of that paperwork is super important. And then obviously, I got showing assistants and stuff like that later on, but just really leveraging yourself so you can do your most important work first. And so I would say that's
Alicia,
really
can I ask you a
important.
question?
Yeah, of course.
So when you first hired your first VA, okay, for the 20 hours, where was your business at, and then where did it go to?
So I just had my first child. So that first year, I think I sold because I had a TC, just to be clear, I had a TC at my previous brokerage. And then when I switched, I needed something because I had nothing here unless I used in-house, and I wanted something more. So I would say I was selling 40 something houses, and I switched to about 50 something houses. And then it doesn't seem like too much, but I stopped working a bunch. I only work 4 days a week. So when I had my first kid, I went from working all the time, being able to do whatever schedule wise. And now my time got a whole lot more limited. So I work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's been 7 years now of just working
I
4 days a
can
week.
make testament to that, because Alicia told me, she's like, I can't talk to you yesterday. Yesterday was her day off, and there was no business happening, and she stuck to that yesterday. So
yeah, it's very, some people don't know how you quite do it. It's just putting boundaries and limitations. And you have a client that wants to do something, and I had a client that wanted to do something yesterday, and I said basically, like, I don't today, I'm completely booked. However, I have Thursday or I have Monday open. And they were very accommodating. And he even said to me, it's so great that you aren't so non-busy that you could just show up, like, oh, I'll see you in 10 minutes. Like, he thought that was actually a really good thing. So it's sometimes perception.
Totally. So can you share with some of these people that are, the whole concept of VA is new to them? Back when you had that person, what were you paying for that person?
So you might be a little shocked. I was paying less than $10,000 a year.
Okay, guys, you heard that. Less than $10,000 a year. And she had at least, and just right out of the gate, she had 10 more transactions just initially from bringing that person on. Okay. Our average commission here is about $9,000 to $10,000. You do the math, guys.
Yeah, it really is very helpful. And honestly, it could be scary hiring your first assistant. However, just like what Gary says, is just put 3 months aside and put that aside and just know you hired someone for 3 months, or you can even do 6 months. And if you're unhappy, then just, if it doesn't work out, and you do the proper tools of making sure you're hiring someone that's important and that they're going to do the right things, going through the KPA and different things like that. That's super important. With a virtual assistant, there's obviously a different layer because you go through a company. Most of the time, sometimes you don't, but still it's really important to make sure you hire the right person.
Oh, absolutely. Totally. So now you have a VA, or you have a person in your office, your assistant?
No, I still have the same one.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. So we understood the growth that you had back when you first did this. So now you did 85 million last year. How?
Well, now I need to correct you on that. I did
Okay.
85 transactions last
Oh,
year.
sorry. Okay, 85 transactions.
I was like, wait, I'm not sure. So 85 transactions. I've done 180 transactions, over 180 transactions over the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
And so it was just me and a 20-hour virtual assistant. That's it.
Wow. Wow.
Like I said, my husband joined me, which is awesome. So he's going to start, showing property. He's showing property and he's going to take on some buyers. But then I was still working, just to be clear, I was still working 4 days a week. I had 20 hours of a virtual assistant. Like, it is possible. However, don't think just because you hire someone, you're going to be able to do that much. It is a lot. You have to have a lot of systems in place to make sure that you can do that volume.
Gotcha. Of course, systems are everything. Tell us a little bit about that. If you'd elaborate a little bit on your systems, does that include Command, and how are you using that with other things on your business?
So she basically, I have had the same assistant this whole time. And so I've leveraged her to make manuals of how to do different things. Basically, every time I get a new listing, she has a checklist of like everything that needs to be done. Email the seller, put it on all the different social media sites, put it on different websites that it doesn't automatically go to, add them in Command. And she's taken everything from my previous CRM and she's put everything in Command, which is very daunting and it takes a lot. If you guys are going through that, just have patience. She's now learning how to do the campaigns and the drip systems and adding tags. And so we're going through, and it's like every couple months we're going through and we're adding another thing to make it stronger. So she's really gotten great about every time I get a new escrow, she puts it in Command and she does, just the whole list, like the time letter, you know how that goes. She doesn't make phone calls. I'm going to be very clear. She doesn't make phone calls. She's in the Philippines, so she does not do phone calls.
Got it. So one bite at a time, right? With Command in your systems, you get it done. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask
So,
you a question. Did you have your systems set up, or did you hire your assistant and then set your systems up?
I did not have my system set up. I hired her, and let me tell you, because I didn't have systems, it was like growing pains so bad. That first couple of months, first 2 or 3 months, it was hard because not only you don't have an assistant right here, you have to be really good at communicating over email. I said, everything you're going to learn, I need you to put into a manual. We're starting we're starting from scratch. And so we built upon that. And so it's 6 years of us being together and getting the systems in place. Does that help?
yes, totally. So Alicia, a couple questions are being posted. I mean, what company did you use for your VA, or do you use for your VA?
There's a lot of companies out there. I happen to use My Outdesk. So it's just My Outdesk. And they no longer do 20 hours a week. They do 40. However, if you have another person in the office, you can always split 20 hours and 20 hours with somebody. It's just a thought. But again, if you save the money for, 3 to 6 months and hire them, I think you're going to see the benefit of it. It does take time at the beginning, so just have patience.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
of my clients, sorry, there was a question in the chat.
Okay.
Most of my clients come from my sphere, past clients. I do a lot of 33 touch, I drop bys. I can't really do a ton of, parties right now.
Right, of course, totally. So your 85 transactions last year, where's your business going this year?
100.
100. Nice. So I don't know if you answered this yet, but someone asked, how big is your database?
So my database isn't huge. So I'm not like the typical agent. I have about 600 to 700.
Okay. And what's the source of most of your business?
It's past clients and my database. I do my 33 touch. So past clients, I get a ton of referrals.
That's great. That's awesome. I'm going to open it up. If anybody has some other questions that are not in the chat box, if you want to ask Alicia, speak up while we have her, so she can go grab her coffee and get started on her day.
So Fiona has a
You want to
question.
unmute yourself?
So Fiona has a question about investing time. What's the time commitment to having those VAs get up and running on KW systems? Have you found that to be a lot or not so much?
The person I hired, so the company I went through, they give you like 3 different options. And you can interview them. The reason I picked the one I had, her name is Joy. And so the reason I picked Joy was because she had already worked for Keller Williams. And that was really important to me because I just joined Keller Williams. I didn't know all your guys' systems at all. Not that she knew a ton of them, but she knew probably a little more than I did. But we really did learn together. Just like Command, we're all learning through that. I have her watch a ton of videos and training, and she's getting better and better at that.
That's great. Another question is, what's the best piece of advice you can give to a brand new agent trying to get their business started?
Brand new agents. I would take every training you possibly can. I know that sounds silly, but when I was in the business 8 years before I joined Keller Williams, and I went to every training they had for the first, I would say, 2 to 3 years, just to really dive in and see what they had. Because I wish I started here, because I wouldn't had to have restart and revamp everything.
Sure. All right, guys. So all the training you can, definitely. So real quick, Alicia, because I want to stick to our time. I promised. Tell us, what's it like to be in Gary Keller's top 100?
It is such an honor. I got the invitation last year right before family reunion, and I just got it. I didn't believe it at first. I was so excited. I cried when I was in the room, just because it was so great to get acknowledged, because my goal wasn't to be a big giant team. I was going to be a solo agent the rest of my life. That's what I planned on doing. And so I knew I was never going to be in Gary Keller's circle, because that's not what they offered. And so when they opened that up for individual agents, I was very, very excited. We meet monthly, and I love the way he pours back into us. It's just a very powerful room.
Yeah, I bet. I can just imagine. Wish we could be a fly on the wall and hear what's being said. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're amazing. One last question. At what point in your career do you know you need a VA? What can you tell some of the newer agents?
I mean, the hard part is there's different avenues. I mean, you can hire someone just for a transaction. You really need to know. And sometimes when I first started, I actually had a transaction coordinator just so I can get to know the systems, but also do it at least once or twice by yourself. So you really know. But the model says that when you get to, I think it was about 40 transactions, I think it's a little before that, depending on how much time you want to spend in your business or how many days you want to work. I would say probably around 30. That's just my 2 cents, but I also want time back because I love family and hanging out with that. Can I? Yeah. Oh, so it says, what does she pay her VA hourly? So well, I'm sure they break it down hourly, but about a month, I think it's around 900, roughly around $900 a month. You can break that down. I only communicate with my VA through email. Believe it or not, we've had a few Zooms, but that's it. I just had to get really good at communicating, being very clear on email. And I'll leave you with this. Gary Keller says that when you're hitting a ceiling, you're either missing a person, or you're missing a person in your life. It's either a coach or leverage. And so I would just say to you, what ceiling are you guys hitting? And what can you learn from family reunion? Because every year I learn from family reunion. And 17 months ago, I sat at Mega Camp and I said, I could be up there. And 17 months later, I'm not going to be on a stage with Gary, but I'm going to be at least on a panel. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that. Really love that. That is so great. And we will be there to support you, whether you're on stage or on our Zooms. We'll be there supporting you. We'll be checking out your session. But thank you so much, Alicia, for your time today and for pouring into our agents. I'm sure they're going to reach out to you even more and thank you and maybe have a couple questions for you. But thank you so much. especially for being up at 6 a.m. and being
Of
with
course,
us.
I'll put my information in the chat box.
Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right, guys, that's the wrap. Make it a great day. If also, just real quick, those of you that are still on, Lucy Parker, who we had on our Zoom about a week or two ago, she's scheduled for next Tuesday at 11 o'clock on Zoom, her full social media class. So make sure that you time block for that. All right, guys. See ya. Make it a great day. Sure.